What is up, everyone? My name is Will Holdren, and I am the host of the Willpower Podcast. Today, our awesome guest is Cam Warba, and Cam is actually an independent wine ambassador for the Voisée collection. And as you see in his background there, he is actually in his basement with all of his wine back there, which is absolutely so cool. So cool. So, Cam, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. I'm really looking forward to this. I've never actually spoken with a wine ambassador before, so this is a pretty cool interview. So to start off, I kind of want to dive into your background. So what was your background and how did you first get involved in the wine business?
Yeah, so by day, I'm an insurance professional. By night, I'm a wine ninja. My wife and I both have a passion for wine. And my wife is a pharmacist. And so she loves the science that goes into winemaking. And she's the introvert of the two of us. So she's like the behind the scenes, wants to know the nitty gritty, what's going on. And I'm the extrovert of us. So I'm the mouth, I'm the presentation, I'm the one that is meeting the people, talking to the people, and just sharing our experiences. Sure. And really, when we met, we were both polar opposites of the wine spectrum from each other, which was really kind of fun. She loves the big, bold, punch you in the face cabs. And I was drinking, the cheap, sweet wines, German Rieslings, and anything that was under $10 a bottle. Right. That was my wheelhouse. And then we got married. And on our first anniversary, we rented an RV, 36-foot Class A motorhome, and toured Napa. And let me tell you, that changed both of our worlds, not only in a relationship, but in our wine relationships as well. And it opened our eyes to a lot of different wines that neither of us would have thought to be in our palate, or something that we would appreciate or enjoy. Yeah. And so that's really when things kind of started evolving. Fast forward 10 years, and 8 years ago, I built this cellar in our basement. It was, my COVID project to keep me sane. And so we started filling it with, the different wine clubs that we were in. We're members of about 7 different wine clubs from all over Napa and then also up into Washington State. And then the opportunity came to where, people were coming to me for recommendations. What wines do you think would go well with this? Or, what wine are you drinking, that I could maybe get? And so it's like, well, I'm giving all this insight. I'm giving all these, ideas and whatnot. How do I monetize this? And in walks the opportunity to become an independent ambassador with the Voisée collection. And, I reached out, got connected with somebody. They told me all about the program, the opportunity to share this portfolio of wine, which, when you think about wineries, if you're a member of a wine club for one winery, they usually offer 4 to 6 wines, and that's it. Wow. With the Voisée collection, we own 24 wineries and almost 200 labels of wine. So for me, the opportunity to share almost 200 labels of wine in one spot, had to do it. Yeah. And so then I was like, okay, yeah, I've already had a lot of these wines in my cellar. We had already been to a few of the vineyards on our trips to Napa. So I knew the wine, I knew the culture, I knew Jean-Charles, and I knew his personality. Yeah. And I just, it was one of those things where, yeah, I'm in. So here I am.
The rest is history, right? No, that's awesome. That is awesome. And before I move on your story a little bit, I just have a couple questions because I'm not a wine connoisseur. So a couple things I want to definitions on. So a wine club, is that the same thing as like a golf club technically? Like this along the same route as that?
Yeah. So depending on the wine clubs that you're involved in, a lot of the different wineries are set up very similar to each other, where it's a quarterly shipment, depending upon what level wine club you're part of. With the Voisée collection, we have quarterly shipments of either 3 bottles, 6 bottles, or 12 bottles, which is a case. Mm-hmm. And they're fully customizable. So one month you might get, this Chablis, this Vouvray, and a big bold cab, and there's your 1 month wine club. Or you tell me, Cam, I'm really not into big bold cabs. I only want white wines. We just do all white wines. Or you tell me, Cam, hey, I really love big bold cabs or red wines, and we're going to throw some stuff at you like Enrapture or our Passion red blend. So wine clubs are very unique to each winery, but they're very versatile. Where a lot of the times they are customizable, or depending on the winery, how many times a year. Typically, it's quarterly. Some wineries, though, just because of how small they are, they do maybe 3 shipments a year. It really just depends on the winery.
Gotcha. So for certain wineries, do you have to be actually part of that wine club in order to get into that winery?
Yeah. So sometimes for exclusivity purposes, they only allow members of their clubs to certain things, free tastings or elevated experiences on property. So one of the really neat things about being part of wine clubs is that you get those perks. When you buy a car from a car dealership, a high-end luxury brand, they pull out all the stops for you. They send you, in a private car, they pick you up. They have ways to make you feel special. So do we within the wine world, where as a member, you do get some perks.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's awesome. And I love your story as well, how you and your wife really connected over wine. I think that's absolutely awesome. And everyone loves wine, right? So I think it's a lot of people's dream to be able to go out there, start their own wine collection, really just start going out there and start really marketing their own wine, which is what you guys are doing, which is awesome. So I'm kind of curious, how the process actually works. So when you guys decided to jump into the Voisé collection, how does that process work? Do you guys have to pre-order your wine, or do you just tell them, we need this many orders when orders come into you, or how does that process actually work for you guys?
Yeah, great question. So for me, as an independent ambassador, it's really turnkey. We in the Voisé collection have made it very simple as a direct-to-consumer style opportunity. So anyone that wants to purchase wine from me, this is my personal wine. I'll share it with you because I like you. Don't expect that for everybody.
Gotcha.
This is my personal wine. This has nothing to do with the sales, which is, for me, a really cool opportunity because I don't need to have backstock or inventory or anything like that. If you come to me and say, hey, Cam, I want to get some wine, we're going direct to my website and it's showing directly up at your door. We are take out the middleman, direct to consumer style. So the nice part about that is when you have the vast majority of wines that I've got offered from all those different wineries, you would have to go to each winery or be part of each club essentially to get those wines.
Right.
I bring the experience direct to you. Whereas an independent ambassador with the Voisé collection, I now am an extension of our tasting rooms or the Napa experience to where I can literally bring that wine to your door. Or if you're local or not even local to me, we can do in-person tastings or virtual tastings to where you could sit there in your room, wherever you are, a boardroom, and your executive team, and we could do a wine tasting with some of our prearranged wine flights that we offer. Or part of the fun that I like to get involved in is I can curate custom tasting experiences depending on what your preferences are. And then I show up and I host the tasting for you. And then anyone that is there, they can order those wines directly from me off my website. And then it is shipped directly to them, moving forward.
That's so cool. So for the custom tastings, you then have to go to their house though, right? Correct? With the
I actually have one. I'm got one tonight. I'm going over to a friend's house, and she's one of my wine society members. We call it wine society instead of a wine club. She's our wine society member. She's got 8 or 10 of her friends coming over. I'm going to host this tasting. Walk them through, educate them on the different wines that are part of the tasting, our background, our wineries, all the different ins and outs of the Voisé collection and our heritage. Pour the wines, enjoy the wines, and go from there. So that's part of the fun for me is I get to go pour the wine and experience the wines with the people that are in person in these wine tastings.
Yeah, no, that is very cool. And I think a common misconception that I've heard of before is that a lot of people think when they want to go into the business that you're doing, Like they gotta have their own winery, they gotta have their own grapes, all that kind of stuff. Which I thought that was true as well until I met you, and now it's like, wow, like you can do everything without even doing all the back work kind of stuff, you know. So I think that's just a really
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, and the infrastructure is huge. Where the Blase collection, we really have it set up for you. If you wanted to do this, it is very turnkey, and it's something to where we've got it to the point of where this is an extension of our wineries. Our wineries are critically acclaimed wines, highly rated. Some of the top rated wines in Napa Valley. We're not going anywhere. With the wineries that we have over in France as well, some of the original wineries that are third, fourth generation in the family here that are producing some of the top rated French wines and Bordeaux style wines. So to take that one step further, we wanted to elevate people, such as myself, who have a passion for wine, who want to share that with other people, and then also make it a business. Now, if you were to try to start this from the ground up, just like you said, are you a winery? Do you have distribution? Do you have, fulfillment? Do you have all those different things? It's costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars to set all of that up. Where with us, an independent ambassador, it's a website fee. It's the opportunity to have an e-commerce website for a nominal fee. And the onboarding packages that we offer come with wine, so you can experience the wines first and foremost, and then you just start sharing the wine. And that really, it's a seamless, business in a bottle, essentially, to get you up and running right away.
Right. And the fascinating thing to me is like this probably could not have been possible like 20 years ago with the way technology has changed, the way the world has changed. Like now we have the opportunity to go out there and do this kind of stuff out there in the world.
100%.
Opportunities are open just because of that, which is absolutely, it's amazing to me,
right,
how the world's changing. So
yeah, and you look at this opportunity too, where COVID shut down a lot of wineries. All of Napa, especially in California, you weren't allowed to go to a tasting room. You couldn't even sit out on their patio and do a tasting during COVID. We were one of the pioneers of really bringing the winery to the people. And there were other wineries that were using our platform as that benchmark to be direct to consumer. And so we were actually one of the very few wineries that thrived during COVID because we already had that model. We've been doing this for about 10 years. And so we already have this really set up to be successful. And so honestly, 2020 was one of our best years for independent ambassadors because no one could get the wine, no one could travel to the wineries. And so they came to people like me, the independent ambassador, who was like, yeah, what do you want? I'll get it right to you.
Yeah, no, it's a great business model for sure. And so I could definitely say I put you guys ahead of your competition, during the years, which is super cool. So besides those couple of years, like how do you go out there and kind of market yourself? When you first became an ambassador, what were you doing to get your name out there, to get people onto your website to go visit your wine collection?
Yeah, so for me, I've been already doing a lot of wine stuff on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm also a creator on Fireside, which is a new app that Mark Cuban actually is backing with Fallon Fatima. It's a really nice interactive app and portal to where creators like myself will go on there and I'll go live, and people all across the world essentially that have the app can join in live with your site in your show and interact with you. So every Wednesday I do Wine with Warba Wednesdays. That's my thing. My website is winewithwarba.com. I own that domain. It's something that just kind of flows really well with what I was trying to do. Yeah. So I was already kind of out there in the world of marketing myself in that way. And then really it's word of mouth. Once people really start to get the wine in hand and they realize, where these wines are coming from and the wineries that they're sourced from, they're realizing, hey, these are staples in Napa. This isn't one of those wine clubs that you don't know where the wine's coming from. And if you ask questions about it, they're kind of like, it's a great wine from that one place and I can't tell you anymore. I literally will walk you to the winery that I got this from if we have the chance. I can show you exactly who, the winemaker was, how many bottles of this wine were made, and if you want more of it, I'm going to get you more of it. And so really, for me, looking at all of that, I was already kind of dabbling in that, but then now I really, word of mouth, hosting these parties, going to people's houses and doing this. I'm also really big in our custom label, which is really fun. So I have a lot of clients that are in brokerages, whether it be real estate brokers, real estate developers. I'm in the market for some jet brokers and yacht brokers. And so a gift for the client stepping on board, or, as somebody is purchasing a home, we've created custom label wines. And I actually have my own custom label wine here. There we go. Cool. So this is our the 2019 Deputy Petite Syrah, one of my favorite wines, a great wine, mid-palate wine. And so I've got my logo and my information, my name, my website. And as I'm talking to people, if I host a party with somebody, they're going to get a bottle to remember me by. Yeah. Or if I go pitch a real estate broker, I'm going to bring this in, set it down and say, hey, this could be your neighborhood label. This could be your broker's label. And then when somebody buys a house, you now have something to give to them as a thank you for purchasing from me, or a closing gift. So that was something that I really got into and found quick success with, because these people are turning these these portfolios, these houses, these boats, these jets, whatever it is, they've got that revolving door of clientele. And so that's where I saw opportunity. And so I reached out through social media a lot. And then once you get one that was successful in it, somebody else is like, hey, where did you get that from? Oh, my wine guy. Go check out winewithwarba.com. The guy's crazy. He's awesome.
Yeah. No, that's awesome though. And it's super cool how you're like the wine guy before you got involved with this as well. So you kind of had that word of mouth already going. But now once people already see your product, they see you got custom labels and how everything really works, like then word of mouth just spreads like wildfire, right? So then clients just keep coming in and in. And that's the importance again of having like a really good product that you can kind of work with and share out to your customers. And I really do love that custom label thing as well you were talking about. And so I'm curious, like if I just go straight to a winery, is that something I can just get straight from a winery, or do I have to go like a private ambassador like you a lot of times to get that?
Yeah, so the custom label stuff is right through me. Gotcha. A lot of the wineries. So we also have some of our wines that are called our curated collection. So they all have this little emblem on them that say, curated collection. That wine is only available through an ambassador.
Gotcha.
So you can't even go to the winery and get this wine.
Gotcha.
So part of the exclusivity of having the wine ambassador is the opportunity to get wines that are limited release, limited quantities of them. Maybe they're something that is where the winery won't have it, or they'll have limited numbers of it, but it's released to the ambassador. Same thing with the custom labels. When you work with us, as an independent ambassador, we have a handful of wines that are available for that program and that program only. So one actually, the Sheriff. This wine is awesome. This Sheriff Star, whatever it's called, it'll actually pop off the bottle, and you can wear it as a sheriff. You'd be the new sheriff in town, which is really kind of fun. People do that all the time. But the Sheriff is one of our custom label wines that we offer, as well as the wine that I have, the Deputy. The Sheriff and the Deputy, go hand in hand.
Branding.
So we've got wines that are only available through that program through me.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. That makes sense. I'll tell you what, man, this business, like, it sounds absolutely amazing, but I know it's got to be like some challenge as well, right? Because it's just like any business, you got to grow, you got to nurture, you got to make sure your brand is good, make sure your products are good. So from your own perspective, from the amount of time you've been doing this, what has been the most challenging part so far for you in making this thing work?
So the big thing for me is people who like wine, and it's, especially in today's culture, we're a culture of instant gratification. I can walk into a wine store, wine and spirit shop, wherever, and get wine. That's great. What benefit do you offer me, Cam? I get that all the time. First of all, you're going to get wines that are only available through this program, available to you. You're going to get me, who my knowledge, my background, my expertise, all the things that I can offer. You tell me a select group of wines that you like, I'm going to expand your palate. I'm going to challenge your palate. I'm going to give you things that you might not have thought that you would like, that you might. And now, you built that relationship and that custom wine experience.
I
I'm
think
going to
that's huge.
offer things like 20% off wine all year round. So you join the Wine Society and you're going to get 20% off the wines all the time.
Yeah.
That also unlocks additional benefits of random sales throughout the year that you're going to get maybe a little bit more discounts, a better flat rate shipping, $25 flat rate shipping as a Wine Society member for up to a case of wine, which is unheard of. If you went to wine.com or something and got their a case of wine, it's going to cost you $50-$60 because it goes by weight. So with us, it's flat rate shipping.
Yeah.
There's events, if you're local to California, or if you're going to make a trip out to California and experience Napa, again, those in-person property events that are available, or experiences, elevated tastings, all those different things that really come with it are huge benefits. So my biggest challenge is getting people to realize that there is benefit in it. I'm gonna create an experience that you're not going to forget. The wines also are shipping directly from the winery. So you could go to a store and that wine could be sitting there for how long? Who knows?
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, I got this on Chairman Select. You know why that wine is on Chairman Select? Because it didn't sell for the last 6 months and they've got a boatload of it and they need to offload it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how the wine and spirit stores get you. They're like, oh, yeah, Chairman Select, it's great. No, we're scrambling because somebody bought too much of it.
Yeah.
And, it probably sat there in a non-climate controlled environment.
Yeah.
And so our wines are shipping directly from our wineries and directly from our hands to yours. So again, there's no middleman. It's not going to go sit in a warehouse, occupied for however long. It's shipping from our warehouse at our wineries direct to the consumer.
Yeah. And
we can do temperature controlled to where we know exactly what's going to happen in transit as well.
Yeah. No, that is definitely a very great point. I didn't really think about how long wines are just sitting on the shelves, but that's a good thing to bring as well. So it's a lot more fresher when it comes to you.
Yeah.
Another thing as well is I love that whole personalized experience. Right? I think as a culture, we're moving towards that. Everything we do, we want something there to kind of hold our hand, help us out with it. And so through you, you're their personal wine assistant. You're just there expanding their palate, like you talked about, really doing one-on-one coaching, what kind of wine you should get, what's their interest. So I think that's a huge plus as well.
For sure. Yeah. As a wine concierge, when you look at that, especially with the elevated clientele, when somebody can call, an individual directly and say, hey, Cam, we've got an event coming up. I need X, Y, and Z. Awesome. Handled. I've now taken off that pressure from that person to facilitate whatever it is that they're looking for. Yeah. And so, I've got people calling that'll say, hey, we've got an event for 50 people. We want to do a tasting with our dinner. This is what our catering is going to be. Can you match a wine with that dinner? Absolutely. You want to throw an event at a country club, but you don't know what wines to have or host? Great. Let me know. You want to host a charity gala and you want something that is going to be remembered by everyone in attendance? You're not just going to go to the state store and buy 5 cases of, $2 Chuck. I can create you a custom label wine with your company logo on it that everyone can take away and remember that event by. Absolutely. Let's do it. Yeah. So that creative mindset, that connection that you have with a real-time person who, my goal is to make sure your experience is top notch. You're not going to get that from a store.
100%. Much more personalized. And then in those scenarios, how long would it take on average for someone place an order through you, right? How long would it take them to ship the wine and have it delivered at their house? What's that typically look like?
Yeah. So depending upon where they're at in the country, typically, when you order wine, depending upon, how many bottles you're ordering, and if they're domestic wines or if they're some of our French wines, the French wines, obviously we've got sourced and stored in our facilities, typically out west, but we also have some out east as well. And so just putting the order together and making sure that everything gets there in a timely manner. Typically, without expedited shipping, you're looking 3 to 5 business days.
Wow.
We do have options for overnight. We do have options for climate controlled, which is a 2-day guarantee. And then also depending on where you're at within the country. So say, us here in Pennsylvania, we order it right now. California's 3 hours behind us. A lot of the time, depending on, the wines that we order, that order can be facilitated same day and maybe can even get on a truck that night.
Wow.
So you can see a quick turnaround time. With the custom label wines, we're looking at about a 3-week turnaround time, 4-week max.
Sure.
And a lot of what goes into that is label development. Right. And so where my expertise comes in, I'm creating these labels with the customer and the client real time. So we're getting it tweaked and ready before we even send that order over. So we're not dragging our feet throughout the process. So then we know, okay, my label is ready to go. Order, submit, paired, done. When you're ahead of the game like that, with having somebody like me who knows the steps of the process to a T, to where I'm not going to cause any delay in your processing, that's huge. I just had a client down in Texas put together a custom label order for a brokerage. And, we went round and round and round, creating the perfect label, got it all put together, got the wine ordered, label in production. That's going to be done. It's in processing right now. It'll be shipped within, at max 2 weeks, to get all the steps of creating the label, printing the label, affixing the label to the bottle, and getting it out to the customer.
100%. Now that's a very quick turnaround, to be honest with you. Like that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And I mean, especially when you're looking at something where, you're getting a really nice custom label, hand designed, for whatever it is that you're doing. And then all of our fun wine facts on the back that tell about the wine that you're purchasing or distributing.
Yeah, that's very cool. So kind of looking ahead now, like for your business, like what are some goals that you hope to get accomplished within like the next couple of years for you personally or like with your business?
Yeah. So my goals are, if your goals don't scare you, they're not a good goal. If your goals don't make you kind of go, whew, that's not a goal. That might be an aspiration or whatever, but I'm lofty. I'm one of those people where it's go big or go home, and with a business like this, where what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. Obviously, if you're not willing to step out and branch out and expand your network, you're not going to go anywhere. So for me, with my background, with my loud mouth and passion for wine and then also people, my goal is to continue to climb in sales. And so when I started this, my goal was to double month over month of my production, essentially. So if I sold $500 my first month, month 2, I need to sell 1,000. Month 2, I didn't meet it. Whatever that number was, though, say it was 900, I'm going 1,800 the next month. And so my goal is to always month over month double my production, whatever that would look like. I also look at it in a way where I can help other people who are passionate about wine build a business for themselves as well. And so as a motivational speaker in a previous life and continuing, I'm 18 years into being a motivational speaker all across the country, which is so much fun.
That's awesome.
My goal is to help other people, facilitate their dreams as well. And if a dream is becoming independent and being able to make an income, and then also have that residual income, as wine club members, their monthly wine clubs are revolving. That is something that I want to do. So building a team of entrepreneurs who want to sell wine and make a living or make some extra money on the side, help facilitate whatever that looks like for their families. I'm here to do that as well. So I've got quite a team amassed already, climbing my way up that, the ladder. And actually, which is another really cool thing, I haven't been doing this a whole lot, but I found my way into kind of a leadership role. And also, I'm going to be the keynote speaker at our retreat coming up here in a few weeks, which is really awesome. So the owner, Jean-Charles Boisset, he's going to be the keynote on Sunday. I'm one of the keynote speakers on Saturday. So, to me, that's obviously something I'm super blessed and passionate about, that I was selected to do that because they obviously see something that I can provide, as somebody who is kind of new into the experience, but also provides a lot of insight. So I just want to be that person that people look forward to seeing, look forward to being part of, look forward to speaking with and growing with, whatever that would look like.
Yeah, no, those are all really great goals. I think you're more than well on your way on all those goals. And congrats on being a keynote speaker. That is super cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Nail it. Yeah, for sure. I think we got a great conversation here today. And before we head off, I just want to ask one more thing. So if people out there listening to you, they get inspired by you and want to reach out to you, what's the best way for those people to kind of get in contact with you or to find you online?
Yeah, so I am the only Cam Warba in the world. So I'm really easy to find. So you can either find me on all the social medias, at Cam Warba, or winewithwarba.com, and you can head into that. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, Cam Warba. So that get in connecting with me on there. Send me a message on LinkedIn or whatever platform it is that you're using. I would love to be in connection with anyone and really connect not only over wine but anything else that I can offer.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, guys, there you have it. Cam Warba, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Nowhere that we go is a one-way street. Nothing that we love is a one-day key. And if we gon' do it, we gon' do this now.
If you have enjoyed an episode, then please open up Apple Podcasts and hit that subscribe button. And if you think we deserve it, scroll to the bottom, select write a review, and leave us a 5-star rating with a review that states where you are from and one aspect of the show that you love. Once you do that, send me a screenshot and I will feature you on a future show and shout you out on my Instagram that has over 10,000 followers.